teaching of the Kyabji Dongyal Rinpoche and his own Dongyal Rinpoche. And we are here in the port line, so as we've been doing for the past 2 days. And we've been discussing about of course, he's the greatest teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching. We've been discussing about how we put into teaching into the practice, and that can benefit to ourselves or taking the advantage of our very beautiful, precious lives. So that's what we taught on the teaching. That is what is. His own Dongyal Rinpoche said that here those people who like to really transform the samsara into the state of the great pure land or the enlightenment status, how we should follow that. That's it. So then we lay out that this, when we do put the time to the practices, that can be kind of summarized in the 2 sections: post-meditation and the meditation status. Post-meditation status or the post-practice status, we should always have, whether it is post-meditation or the meditation state or practice status, we should always have beautiful motivations. The motivation is the foundation of the practices, and not just only that. According to Buddhism, the mind is the ground, the foundation of everything. Everything starts from the mind. There's nothing really is developed or started without the mind. And so therefore, when the mind has many different thoughts and conceptions, but good motivations, correct motivations, positive motivations. What that is, positive motivation, of course, you all know. Joy and appreciations, bodhicitta, the purity, understanding of the way things are on the reality level. Not duality level, but the reality level. Or beyond duality, how these things are all and everything is. Kind of reflecting those thoughts very much. And so nowadays, joy and appreciation is opposite of the depression, anxiety, and worries, and all that things. Those kind of like unhealthy mental status, and then sadnesses. All that we kind of bring up in the mental status and completely occupy our mind with all this kind of unhealthy motivations. That really not going to help to anyone. And therefore, we have to change that motivation. How we will bring joy and appreciation if we really experience a lot of difficulty, trouble, particularly such as this time, there's so many kind of challenges going on. Is it true? It's difficult to have joy and appreciation many times, but we have to think more realistic, more like sensibles, with common sense. Now this situation, what we are facing now, is not just only us. The whole world looks like really going on there, going. And everyone's talking, they have to be isolated, and as well as wash hand, and wear all the masks, and so forth. Every instruction saying that. But maybe those all we can do this, particularly in this country, or the development countries. But those who are really not developed, all countries, they cannot, even they need to do, they cannot do all those things, what we can do here. So at least that levels, how much will you have the good advantages that we can take care of ourselves, follow the instructions. That is not just also coincidental. Truly we have the beautiful cause and conditions both of those situations are kind of like surrender us, really feel happy and joy with that. Even though we are going all this midst of the challenges, the difficulty, but we have some, we can take care of that if we really follow the instructions. We can do every best to prevent those situations and overcome that. And that is what it's all that. And then plus, we have what I said yesterday, and you all know, we have the beautiful situation as human lives. That is also not really kind of casual and insignificant. We have beautiful life. Then plus, we have the freedoms as that beautiful life, but 10 luxuries. And we put all those 5 luxuries that related with the others, 5 luxuries related with one's own self. We put together those, we have the 18 luxuries of all 18 endowments, 10 luxuries. And that means spiritually, we are really well kind of equipped of the wealthy individuals. Maybe material level, maybe we don't have everything. But spiritual level, really we are quite wealthy, which is wonderful and beautiful. According to many great masters and experts, smart ones often say, material wealth will not last forever. Even you do everything, every effort trying to keep up this and that things, won't last. But when you develop the spiritual Dharma wealth in your heart and mind, that goes on and on. Not just only on this lifetime, and we believe future lives or heaven. It will go all the way to the heavens, future lives. So it is something so rewarding to have the spiritual wealth. That all start with beautiful motivation, joy and appreciations. Lighten our mind and heart with joy and combined with courage and commitment. That's how we can overcome all the troubles. Read the books of the life story of those ancient great masters and bodhisattvas. What means bodhisattvas? They are known as warriors. They are conquering of the troubles, the difficulties, negative emotions of the samsara, and bring the joy and peace, happiness, turn the environment, their perception and their conception into the pure land states. That's what in Buddhism known as warriors. Truly they conquered the negativities and troublemakers and the dualities and the ego clingings and become the one of the beautiful beings in the world. So calm, so peaceful, so simple, yet so concerning and so thoughtful and respectful to every living being. Those are known as great bodhisattvas. So this all, if we are able to maintain that, that is like, as I said, the motivation is the ground of the whether we are practicing or whether we are post-practice status is key, essential. That is what always the teaching said, and you all know. We all know that. So in a way, we remind it to each other. Now we will put in the practice that, particularly in practice, always in the teaching said, it's very beautiful and very special to reflecting the four renunciation thoughts. Four renunciation thoughts, or 4 points that will change the mind. And I went first one, precious human lives, at freedoms, 10 luxuries. Those I already just mentioned, and you all know. I went kind of really over that. That is so special. We should be happy and joy, but at the same time have the courage and commitment, confidence that I'm going to use that better purposes. What that means, better purpose? To benefit to one's own self, benefit to others, benefit to all other beings, according to my best capabilities. If we are able to do that, if we have that intention, attitude, thought, and put that in action, according our capabilities and the readiness of others, then we follow in the footsteps of the enlightenment. And so that is the precious lives. Second of the four renunciations, the impermanent. Impermanent. Reflecting mind on the impermanent. This is also essence of the mindfulness. Present time, we don't see the impermanent. Padma impermanent is a kind of skipping way without our notice, because our mind is so gross, looking something completely different. We don't really look carefully to the reality where things are happening. But impermanent is part of our lives, part of this universe, part of the world. Is nothing any kind of unusual or special or kind of bad things. That's the part of the game, part of the show, part of the display. We go impermanent. So therefore, reflecting that impermanent is supreme mindfulness. Really mindfulness. You see where truly things are. And it's changing. There is two impermanence in the Buddha's teaching mentioned. Gross impermanent and very subtle impermanent. Gross impermanent, we occasionally kind of notice that. That we can kind of notice it. Even though maybe we don't really pay attention at that, but it can be not noticed. But subtle impermanent, we won't notice it. It's so subtle. What that means, subtle? The instantly is changing. Everything is changing instantly, and there is even not stopping 1 second or one fraction of seconds. Stop it. It's changing all the time, continually changing. That is known as subtle impermanent or instant impermanence sometimes. Because of that, gross change is happening. For example, when we have the clock or watch, hour is not just coming by itself. The second is happening every second. Second is changing to the minute to the then hours count. That's how really things are happening. From the small stage, it's changing. So therefore, reflecting on the impermanent is in the Buddha teaching. Gracious, kindness, wise teacher said, is a supreme knowledge. When you have that thought, what it will bring, if you have what kind of clearly thought of the impermanent, it will bring our mind more sensible, more kind of like more practicals. And we will use our time with good purpose. Then that means we're not going to waste our times. Many times we waste our time. That means without any improvement or benefit to ourselves or one's own self, to the others. Really, that happens so many times. Just kind of casually just running away. Life is running away as like roller coasters. We don't notice this. This is true. It's not just the Buddha said, other great masters said. When we look carefully, kind of sit down on the floor or sit down on the cushion or the chair, reflecting inwardly, how much things have changed in our lives. How many things happened? But still it's continuing. It happened in the past, it is happening now, it will happen in the future. And for that reason, in the teachings on the practice and lineages, often spoke how we're going to reflect the impermanent, more kind of precisely, more carefully. Reflecting the impermanent of the universe, reflecting the impermanent of the inhabitants of the universe, reflecting the impermanent of all the noble beings, reflecting the impermanent of those great powerful ones, and reflecting the impermanent variety levels, ways to reflect this. And reflecting the impermanent meant our own lives. And kind of strongly reflecting the mind of the impermanent as much as we can. Kind of very strongly, kind of very carefully reflecting those. Those are the different, reflecting the impermanent, different method layout of the great masters. If you think of the universe, we think always that this universe is so big, so gigantic, so solid, so stable. There cannot be happen anything. It's not true. According to Buddhism, once upon a time, this universe or the world where we are now, is not here. All came gradually. Those to come is also known as eons. Eons it takes. It has a period of the completely empty spaces where this our world is now. That been, according to Buddhism, for 20 eons. Then the process of developing this universe, once there is empty space, developing this take 20 eons. Now, then there is 20 eons will stay full function of the universe as it is now. Then 20 eons will go decline of this universe. Go, finished. Go into process of the finishing. Again, then what will become? At this place where the world is completely become empty spaces. This process changing is happening all the time. Changing on the universal level or the worldly levels. There is nothing really lasts forever. Everything is changing. Everything is moving. Everything is running in a way. That's how this universe is true statement. It's not just making stories, exaggeration, or kind of new phenomena trying to develop our mental state. That is the evidence. You look at it. Then we started thinking the inhabitants of this universe. Inhabitants of people who live in this world. How many things are changed in this world? Look and read the history of that. For example, ancient all those civilizations, such as I heard the Atlantic, kind of great civilization, the Atlantics, disappeared. There's only kind of mainly history or guessing stories. Then there's a history of this continent or this west continent. There's called the Ingas, something so powerful, so organized, so strong. Also mainly become historians. And in the East, there's so many of those great civilizations, great historians. One after another, they so, like when you read those histories, look so powerful, so majestic, so stable, all that. But all those gone on the side. Is in the memories. Then we read histories of even 100 years ago. How many things have changed? How many? It's all that. It's known as the then thinking, reflecting of the inhabitants of the reflecting the impermanent to the inhabitants of the beings, kind of general levels, how that all happens. Then more go specifically to reflecting the impermanent to the holy beings, the great beings, who are known as such highest level realization, achievements. In the Buddhism, for example, gracious teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, who is highest realization who achieved. But also, even himself is in a way, is just gone. All those great arhatas, mahasiddhas, they can transform water into the fire into the water, walking in the sky, sitting in the sky, sleeping and laying down in the sky, and performing activity in the sky, going through the wall of the mountains. And that great beings that who can transform and change things, but then also only become historians. Only maybe we can see some evidences, some signs, this and that now. Some monument or said, oh, this is what this great master enlightened beings did this and that. That is a monument. This becomes as object of veneration or object of the pilgrimage sport. And then in a non-Buddhist school, there's so many great beings, rishis, sages in Hinduism. They do similar things. Great beings. Also is historians. And in the great Christianities, such as son of the gods, all those great sages, saints, they can do so many great things, one after another. But they are also gone on the side. So what is that happen? Why is this? This is known as impermanent. There's nothing lasts forever as it is. It's always changing, always shifting, always. Then we now kind of reflecting to more kind of individual level or personal levels. How much each of us went through, see the changes in our own lifetimes or our own self. For our example, once upon a time, we are small but infants. The mother or the parent can hold in us completely our body in their palms or the hands. Now, what will happen? And now, until now, since we have the memories, and until now, how many things have changed? How many we went through, one after another? This is not something that we planned, we desired, we wished to have. And all that happened without any choices, without any blockages. And for ourselves, we're changing. Every day, ourselves are changing. For example, this morning, now, this evening, and it's continuing. It's continuing. Same thing. And therefore, and for that reason, what a gracious kindness compassion teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said, but even though it's the impermanent, it's all that kind of looks like changing, but if we use that this time, we can make something beautiful development because of the impermanent. We can take full advantage. What does the great master, his Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche said? Take advantages of these lives. Advantage is nobody is controlling us. Since we have the 8 freedoms and 10 luxuries, we can use this time ourselves. Use the time wisely, do something good that related with our mind, our spiritual qualities, that developed in our mental status. Or whatever we do, mentally activities, or positive activity, whatever we do, it will not going to go that end. That marriage is not just finished and gone. It will stay in our mental status. Where it will stay in the mental state, like bank of the space, mental space. B-A-N-K, bank of the mental spaces. Or in the teaching it said, subconscious storehouse. It will be registered, received, everything there. It will always shine, reflecting that whenever the right time comes. That is. So therefore, this reflecting impermanence is so important because it is realistic, it is true. We're trying to ignore that. We are fooling ourselves. It's fooling ourselves. We're hiding, we're completely kind of putting blind covers our eye and trying to not look that. Maybe it is just a kind of you won't see that for time being because of the blind covers. But that's not going to help to anything. For that reason, reflecting impermanence is supreme mindfulness. It brings more knowledge, more understanding, and if we have the courage and commitment, confidence, then use the time to make something beautiful things to be that benefit to ourselves and to the other beings. So that is what is known as the impermanent. Impermanent, and that is the second point of the renunciation, or second of the that will change the second point that will change mind. And again, what that means, what I'm saying, that change the mind. But that this 4 renunciation or this 4 point, if we reflect each of that will change our mind, such a grasping, clinging, and that attitude of the samsara, or this world we are. We become more, as I said already, we'll become more calmer, more peaceful, more gentle, more respectful, more sensible, and with full of common sense. That means we really have a good mindfulness. When we don't have the mindfulness, alertness, then those all kind of carried by force of the self-important and the ego clings. Then kind of we ended up many difficulty, troubles, that which is maybe many times one's own creations. So therefore, it is so beautiful and so spiritual, and we keep reflecting those thoughts, then it really will bring all the advantage of these beautiful lives, precious lives. And that is my brief talk for today. And thank you very much everyone for participating and be with us, and thank you. Now we do again short meditation.